So for Parkinson's Awareness Month, I'm chatting with David, who runs the Life with Parkinson's YouTube channel, where he shares his experiences on the journey with this disease. David reached out not too long ago after seeing one of my videos, and we've since supported each other's ventures on YouTube. But we thought it would be nice to collaborate on a video to discuss how our lives have been impacted since being diagnosed with Parkinson's. And we hope we can provide some assurance that you're not alone in what you're going through.
So, yeah, absolutely. It's always fun to collaborate with other channels and get to know other creators out there. And I'm excited about this video. And thank you for watching.
My diagnosis, I first noticed a slight tremor in my right thumb. I let it go for about a year. And then at my physical, my annual physical, I mentioned it to the doctor and he said, "Oh yeah, I see it." And he kind of moved my arms around and he talked about cogwheeling, but he said, "Let me send you to a neurologist." And then I tell people she did field sobriety tests. And she ran an MRI and tested me on the carbidopa levodopa. And she said, "Yeah, it's Parkinson's." And in a video I did recently, I mentioned that I had to tell her to stop talking because I was so shocked and upset that I wasn't processing anything she was saying.
It's so confusing with Parkinson's, right? Because it can be so many different things. And I was working full time because my wife was, like, when we got married, we always said, one parent would stay at home. So I went to work and she stayed at home with the kids. I was experiencing like fatigue and stiffness and rigidity, and people would say, "Are you okay? You have a back or a neck injury?" Because my shoulders would be so lopsided and stuff. And it was something we just kind of passed over, and well, me kind of just tried to ignore it. And it just progressively got worse year after year after year. And then my family doctor looked at me one day and says, are you stiff? I said, "Yeah, my shoulder is really stiff." So he swung my arm around a little bit. Said, "You're going to go see a neurologist." I'm like, "What?" And my wife was like, "Oh, this might explain what's been wrong with you for so long."
Yeah, it's interesting how differently it affects everybody, and then the different rates of progression. So there's no, I think you mentioned this in one of your videos, there's no one size fits all approach to this.
Yeah, and even if they think you have Parkinson's disease, they have to do all these other tests to rule everything out, because there's like no really like measurable clinical tests. They can't just do like a blood test or scan your brain and prove it. They gotta rule so many other things out.
Right. And there's some people that don't have a tremor, which is a obvious motor symptom. So I can understand how frustrating it can be for some people who it seems to take a long time for them to get diagnosed, because like you say, it could be any number of other conditions and they have to just sort of rule everything out.
I've run into some people where they have like rigidity or stiffness in their leg, and they go see like foot doctor to diagnose this on their leg, and it's like, no, they have to go see a neurologist or see somebody slightly familiar with Parkinson's symptoms.
And then they talk about the non-motor symptoms that are common for a lot of people, the loss of smell, constipation, the REM sleep behavior disorder. So, I mean, I don't think people in their 20s and 30s right off the bat, when those symptoms occur, I don't think the first thought is I could have Parkinson's.
No, it wasn't for me. I would have like scary dreams, someone was chasing me with a gun. It was terrible.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, how could you connect that to Parkinson's disease?
Right.
The average person wouldn't be able to.
How old were you when you were diagnosed?
So I was 44.
Yeah, I had just turned 51. And so when you're in your 50s and you're still working and there's support groups of older people that meet during the week in the middle of the day, it's like, where do I go? Who do I hang out with?
Yeah, that's the problem I ran into when I lived in Squamish. All the support groups were during the day, and now that I live out near Kelowna, there's support groups all the time because it's primarily a retirement area. Yeah, so there's lots of resources out here, but yeah, I understand what you mean.
Is there anything that you would have done differently? I'm not sure. I talked to a lot of people right off the bat, and I just sort of picked up on suggestions right away. So I don't think there's really anything that I wish I would have done differently, other than early on in my 20s and 30s, just eating better and worked out more. But as far as Parkinson's, I don't know that there's anything I would have changed.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? You think about it and you go, well, what could we have done, right?
Right.
I wasn't asking the question, what's wrong with Dave, but my wife was, and right, just that's when we noticed just such a lack of awareness of symptoms related to Parkinson's in our community. Like, and we knew people whose parents, had Parkinson's, and they didn't even make a connection. So I would just say, in general, awareness surrounding like the mile long list of symptoms it's very vague.
It's important for people to realize this can affect anybody. I think I read there was a 12-year-old girl that was diagnosed with this some time ago, and I know I've talked to other women who we've kind of joked and said we always thought it was an old white man's disease.
Well, yeah, it was, and now it's affecting, like you say, a younger population more common, and now it's affecting women more often as well.
And it's likely environmental.
Definitely, yeah. I've met someone who was using Roundup in their orchard, and that's how they got Parkinson's disease. So yeah, environment definitely plays a part.
Yeah, my grandfather had Parkinson's, but he was a tobacco farmer, so his was likely environmental. And I've had a couple of genetic tests done, and I'm not predisposed to it, so it wasn't passed down genetically to me. So I got into something. I tell people I just drew the short straw.
Yeah, I drew the only straw in my family. Definitely caregiving is a big part of coping with Parkinson's, because I say to my wife quite often, like, if I didn't have you around, what would I do? But then I also have a larger circle of support people as well, which I'm very grateful for. So, in a wider sense, like raising a child is done by a village, but also caring for someone, we've discovered with Parkinson's disease, takes a village also. The biggest thing I noticed lately is when I have very pronounced off periods, like on and off periods now, I'd say for the last year. And when I'm on, I'm okay, right? My thinking process is fairly clear. I'm pretty much the same person I was 10, 15 years ago. But now when I'm off, like, making a good decision is so much harder, because I don't know if anybody else feels this, but sometimes I'll have trouble comprehending the greater picture.
Yes.
And I'll have to run it by my wife. Is this a good idea? Is like the decision I'm making a good one?
Right.
And sometimes she'll be yes, and sometimes she'll be, well, maybe we should wait an hour until your meds kick in, then we'll talk about it. It's just weird not being able to make those decisions all the time during the day.
Right.
And that's currently one of the caregiving things I rely on my wife for quite a bit.
Yeah, I've noticed some, for me, comprehensive struggles. I'm not sure how else to put it, where things are said to me and it's just not processing. And one of the last appointments I had with the movement disorder specialist, I told him I don't feel I multitask like I used to. That's one of the things that I used to pride myself on. I can multitask. I can do 100 things, get them all done on time, if not early, and they're all good. I get them done well. And now I just get so overwhelmed so easily. I definitely noticed the shift in what I used to do and what my abilities are now. So
yeah, I was diagnosed in 2017, so even just 6 years into Parkinson's.
Wow, that's fast.
On and off times are so pronounced. in a way, it's almost disabling, almost crippling.
Hmm.
So yeah, I've got to be careful how much of a workload I
Yeah.
take on, but I always push myself. But
Hmm.
yeah, I've got to be careful how much I, you know, plan for each day. Like how much
Right.
energy am I going to spend and be able to anticipate those off times and
Hmm.
just have tools to compensate for them.
Right. Right. Yeah. I try not to bite off more than I can chew, but lately it
Yeah.
seems like I just keep piling more and more stuff on myself. I mean, it's things I enjoy, but it is a lot. So I do have to be mindful, and when I do start to feel like it's a bit much, just step back and
Hmm.
take a breath, and what I can do today is going to have to be enough. So
Yeah, and that's good when you have that greater support group around you. Not necessarily people in your home, but close friends, family
mhm.
that can help relieve some of that workload.
Yeah, family, I feel very fortunate because my family's very supportive. Um, I mean, we've always been very close, but I just feel like I see it more now. Everybody's really just sort
Mm.
of stepped up, and friends and people that are friends with my husband even will ask him, how he's doing, how I'm doing, and so that's important. And I think when you first touched on care partners or caregivers, I think it's important to check in with them because they can get so wrapped up in us that they lose
Yeah.
themselves. I think that can be a danger for them. What's going on with Kiwi, your little bird?
Well, she's doing a lot better. My wife's training her more to
Hmm.
I, just to help us figure things out together when I'm off. So Kiwi's definitely not as aggressive as she used to be.
Oh, good.
So so yeah, our relationship's a lot better, and she's not as terrified now when I'm off.
Hmm.
When I'm off, I don't pick her up or interact with her.
Okay.
So yeah, she's definitely not as afraid anymore.
Hmm.
So that's been a big relief. But birds are, I don't know, you guys out there with birds will understand this. Birds are just so so damn smart. Like they just know what's going on and they can sense so many different things. It's almost like a little person in the room sometimes. It's almost like she's in charge and we're her flock, and this is the way things are going to be. So it's really, they're just so intense and so smart, and they just know what's going on.
Mhm.
It's so odd.
They seem like neat pets. They're
Yeah,
cute because
like
some of your videos I've seen her on your shoulder and she's just kind of hanging on while you're moving around. So she's cute.
yeah. Hoping to get some more videos out about Kiwi soon.
Oh, good. Yeah, I look forward to
Yeah.
seeing them. Yeah, we've had animals for 30 years, and then even as a child, I grew up with we always had something, or multiple
Mm.
things in the house, and we had rabbits and dogs, geese. We had all kinds,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, we had a lot of animals, and then uh, since being married and then we had kids, we've always had a couple cats or a couple dogs or hamster, guinea pig. It's just rabbits. We had all kinds. And so we got down to the last two. It was a dog and a cat. And I love both, but that dog, he and I did dog agility for several years. And I love that dog.
Mm.
And he just got old and not well. And I told him, we just didn't plan it well enough because I think he would have been a great service dog to have as things
Mm.
progress. But I don't, for me, I don't know about getting another pet. I'm concerned about it because a lot of the care falls to me. Normally in
Yeah.
the past it has. And my husband works a lot of hours, so I think it still would fall to me. And then there's always the concern of the pet cutting you off and a tripping hazard sort of thing. So that's of concern. And they live so long.
Yeah.
Am I going to physically be able to care for it as it gets older?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I already know that if I was on my own, I wouldn't be able to take care of Kiwi
Hmm.
because she likes to get down on the floor now and walk around. And yeah, there's definitely been a few times where I've almost stepped on her. So
Oh,
yeah, the off times are, yeah, that would limit me for sure.
right.
I already know that.
Right. And I love pets. So it's sort of sad that I feel that that's not a serious option for me to consider right now. So unless I got something small that could stay in a cage, like a hamster or a guinea pig or something, but a fish.
Yeah.
But they are good companions, I think.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, they are.
So I don't know how Parkinson's has impacted me specifically as a woman. Maybe if I still had kids at home, I think it would be a bigger challenge. And there's also a lot of activities I've always done just to try to bring the family together. We've had Christmas in July sort of parties. We've done Mardi Gras parties, Chinese New Year. And anybody who's done an event knows it's a lot of work, you know. Like Thanksgiving for us, Thanksgiving is just my favorite holiday, and I love cooking, and it's a lot of food, and I will spend all day in the kitchen, and I swear we're like, you know, wolves, like we've not eaten in weeks. And so, and it's gone in like 10 minutes. And then there's like the whole end of the wee hours of the night I'm cleaning. And I just wonder, like, how much longer can I keep doing this? Because it's tiring. It's very tiring, wears you out. So one other thing, not specific to being a woman though, is probably traveling. We enjoy traveling and doing active, like hiking trips, visiting national parks. And we've already talked about doing as much as we can while we can, but we know at some point that I will be limited. And so we've kind of talked about cruising as an option at that point. We'll still travel, but doing other kinds of trips.
The biggest problem for me has always been the anxiety. And that seems to be what the primary symptom is going to be for me based on the last 6 to 8 years. Just balancing it, figuring out what I can do and can't do, like how long I can visit someone or meet someone at a coffee shop. Like I've always got to set time limits for those things and budget them in, and just make people aware that, hey, you know, I do want to see you. Just setting those boundaries and being comfortable with them. I've always been a very social person, enjoying going out, enjoy shopping, enjoy meeting people. Now to have a condition where it makes me a bit of an introvert is very unnatural and frustrating. But it comes down to that you just don't have a choice. You have to manage your symptoms or your health just kind of unwinds. Yeah, almost like going down a whirlpool in the ocean. I find I sink quickly if I don't take care of myself that way. So yeah, the anxiety has always been the biggest issue from day one. I think I'm getting better at managing it. I'm getting better at saying no and putting myself first, but it's a very difficult thing to do.
I find the same thing. I'm working on asking for help more, but I'm very independent, and so I'm just kind of realizing my limits, and I still haven't mastered the best time, my on-off times. So I know, you know, 10 to 2 is the best time to get hold of me, kind of thing. So it takes me longer to get things done, but you know, I try to manage myself more now because I am seeing my limits.
That self-management is something we need to do, but it's so hard to prioritize. Basically, my son started my YouTube channel. When I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, we struggled to find like situations where we could like interact with somebody just on a daily basis, just like a regular person living Parkinson's out. Like there's piles of medical information out there, like doctors, nurses, physiotherapists, and it's all excellent, right? And then there's celebrity information out there, but I always find it hard to relate to a celebrity because they're living
Right.
such a different life. There weren't like any active channels that we found, and we looked for a few days, and then finally my son goes, "Why don't you start your own?" Because obviously there's a need for it.
Hmm.
And that's how Life with Parkinson's was born. He opened a YouTube account for me, even though I said, no, the YouTube's never going to last. It's not going to stick around. And he filmed my first video and uploaded it. And here we are now.
Yeah.
This channel has grown beyond any expectations I had.
Yeah. Yours is very successful. And when did you start yours? What year?
In 2017,
Okay.
a couple months after my diagnosis,
Okay.
my son was tired of us talking about it. He's like, just do it. Yeah, the relationships I've gained with people, I value them so much. Like
Hmm.
the audience and the viewers, like just having this privilege of being able to interact with so many different people all over the world. It's something I don't take for granted. And, I'm honored that people would be so interested in my life and
Hmm.
what I'm doing. Trying to give back to those people now, and
Hmm.
just because I'm just so fortunate and so blessed.
I like your videos. I find you very relatable. And like you say, I mean, I can see Michael J. Fox or somebody else, but they live a very different lifestyle than I do. And so for the YouTube channel, for mine, I started it as a means of encouraging others to stay active and positive, because after I was diagnosed, there were several people I talked to who just felt so alone and down. It was disheartening, really. It must have been really challenging for them. So I just thought, if I was already working out and watching other YouTubers promoting the health and activity, and so I thought, well, I mean, I can do that for the Parkinson's community. So that's how I got started. I'm your average 50-year-old woman, and I have Parkinson's, and I hope that's more relatable to everyday people.
Yeah, and it's not like we're getting down on the medical information. It's not like we're getting down on the celebrities. We
Right.
need both those groups.
Yes.
We need those people to advocate for us. It was more just trying to connect with someone in a similar situation. We need people like Muhammad Ali. We need people like Michael J. Fox. We
Right.
need those famous people focusing in on our illness.
Right, because they have more of a reach for resources than I would.
Like through my experience and my channel, I found that there's not a lack of audience on YouTube. There's
Right.
a lack of content surrounding Parkinson's in general.
And when we reach 1,000 subscribers, and I think it's 4,000 viewing hours or something, that you can start generating some revenue off of ads. So I've said from the start that, if I get to that point with my channel, that I'll donate 50% of that to Parkinson's research. I do look at your videos, and I do think that you are successful in that you are helping other people, because I've seen the comments people leave for you, and you're making a difference. And to me, that is a success.
Mm-hmm. No, thank you.
So kudos to you for that. Well, David, I've enjoyed our chat and appreciate you collaborating with me in order to share information and try to help others on this journey. I have a link to David's YouTube channel on my channel's page, so please take a peek at that when you can. Thank you all so much for watching and supporting the channel and Parkinson's awareness.
Yeah, thank you, Charlotte. This has been great. I've really enjoyed this. It's been a great back and forth, and I think we've covered a lot of areas that generally a lot of people ask about and need covering. So yeah, thank you to everybody for tuning in to watch and supporting our channels. I'll have a link to Charlotte's channel, The Owl, as well in the description below. Yeah, so thank you very much.
Okay. But we'll have to do this again soon. But stay positive, friends. Keep moving, and we'll see you all soon.
Yeah, let's take this journey together.